Hey everybody, I'm Tony McAfee with Mobile Cup of Joe, and today I've got just a very short, not very detailed review of the Galaxy Note 4. I've had this thing for quite some time, but I've been putting it off because I had the birth of my son. But I do want to get some coverage on the Galaxy Note 4. This is a great device if you have the money and if you really need the stylus is great. So if you guys are thinking about a Galaxy Note 4, please check out my thoughts. And if you have any questions, I know I don't cover a lot in the whole review, but go ahead and let me know down below and I will try to get as many of your questions answered before I send this thing back. But this is a wonderful device. Before we go ahead and get into it, I want you to grab your coffee cup, fill it up, bring it over, sit on down, take a swig from your Cup of Joe. You can see the powered by Android is now standard on most devices, and Samsung joining a little bit of the material design with their new logo. Now I am running Google Now launcher, but let's go ahead and switch that back to the stock TouchWiz launcher just so you get a feel for what the device will actually look like when you pull it out of the box. Okay, so first we'll check out TouchWiz Home. This is what you'll probably all be using. It does lag a little bit. It's got Samsung's, oh, it looks like it's Flipboard. It's magazine on the tablets when you swipe over instead of Google Now. So that's interesting. Interesting little addition that they made. To me, I still prefer Google Now, but it is interesting that they are trying to get into a similar game, because with Samsung working on Tizen OS, maybe they are trying to, feel the market out and see what Google's doing and try to emulate what they're doing on their own systems. Okay, so everything's pretty standard with the TouchWiz launcher. It's gotten a little bit snappier. I really like the animation when you tap the App Drawer button, and it just kind of fades up, fades down. That's been since the Galaxy S3. I just think that's really classy looking. That's about the only thing I actually like about the launcher. Let's see. Okay, Google. Okay, Google does work. So it is, they are working on it. They are making it a lot better than it was before. They are doing a lot of things to bring their phones into the current generation of Google devices, but it is still Samsung. You've got your quick settings panel up here, and you can get to that by pulling down with 2 fingers. And here you can edit the panel, and you can see what will be in your slider there. Now this is one of the first Samsung devices that I've found that the automatic brightness is not always too dim for me. I know on my tablet, when I had the automatic brightness, I could almost never see it. So this one is okay for automatic brightness. The other cool thing about automatic brightness on this device is that when you're outside and it comes into contact with direct sunlight, the screen goes into kind of an ultra bright mode where it almost looks like a rainbow effect on the screen. At first I thought it was kind of a reflection. I didn't realize that it was going into this ultra bright mode. I wouldn't want to use it outside for a whole day because I can't imagine what that's doing to the battery, but it is totally legible and visible in direct sunlight, and this is one of the best devices I've found using indirect sunlight, because I never had to squint, I never had to reposition it or put my hand over it to see. It always is totally legible on the screen. So that direct sunlight mode was just a fantastic addition. They've got the traditional settings that just looks more like the original Android instead of having the icons like the Galaxy S5. I think that's a great change. The icons were a little confusing. They took up too much space. It did not look good to me. This is running Android 4.4.4 KitKat. So this is a little bit different. I honestly don't think that you're going to be owning a $800 device if you need to use this, because if you need this, you're just not going to be purchasing a device for this much. You're not going to be spending that much on it because it is very simple and it almost looks like a dumb phone. So that's TouchWiz Easy Home. I think you can get to the dialer. No. So that is TouchWiz Home, and everything is very, very simple. It's got magnifier there, access to your camera, your text messages, your web browser, easy settings. You can add apps. Here's your app drawer, or the equivalent of your app drawer. So it's all, I don't know, it's split up. It looks like a very old, a first attempt at a smartphone, if you will. I don't care for it. I honestly, as I said, I'm not sure who's going to be using this on an $800 device, but it is there if you ever decide you want to use it. Go ahead and take a look at the camera. This camera is fantastic. It is probably the best mobile camera I've used on a cell phone, that is. I'm filming this right now with the Galaxy Camera 2. That's obviously the best mobile camera, but that's a DSLR with an Android attached to it, so that's not really a fair comparison. It is a 16 megapixel rear sensor and a 5 megapixel front sensor. There is just so much you can do with this camera that I can't even really get into it in a short review, but it does look amazing. The shots come out great. This is the camera I used primarily during the birth of my son. Well, not during, but pictures of my son and family holding my son. This camera is amazing, and everything you do with it looks great. Even in low light, it's not horrible pictures. All phones are going to struggle in low light. This gives above average pictures in low light. Go ahead and switch to the front-facing camera. Hello. So as you can see, the front-facing camera, not awful. Let's see. There you go. So not horrible. 5 megapixel is a good sweet spot for front-facing cameras. That's what I have on my personal device, and honestly, I know that I'm planning on switching to the Nexus 6, and I'm really not looking forward to going back from a 5 megapixel front-facing camera. It's awesome for video chatting, for recording. There's a social app I use called Movi that is really, really good on with a 5 megapixel front-facing camera. So I'm not looking forward to getting rid of that. I hope that Google does something good. But this has an awesome 5 megapixel front-facing camera. You look great when you record, and I've used this to post on Movi several times. People have commented on how good I look. And it's not just because I look so good. They've commented on the quality of the video. So let's check out the S Pen stuff. Here is something, I had never reviewed a Note device before, but there's something I didn't know about the S Pen, which is that you can use the S Pen to select text in an not normal, but I'm trying to think of a good word here. Let's see. You can use the S Pen to select text in a much simpler way than you can with selecting it with your finger. Which, selecting it with your finger, you just press and hold on the word you want to select, and then you drag. With the S Pen, it is much easier. It's got a button right here. Let's see if I can focus on that. There we go. So that button, if I just press and hold that button and then draw, it automatically selects. And then I can select up here if I want to copy that text. There we have it. So that is probably the most useful feature of the S Pen. I'm not drawing a lot on this. I've messed with Photoshop Touch, and I still prefer to use my fingers. I don't know why. I just feel like I'm more precise when I'm using my fingers to edit and draw on the screen of the device. And you can reach your S Pen menu by just clicking that button, and it gives you options. Action memo will pop up your memo thing in the middle of the screen. You can write. It does have handwriting recognition, so if you just write, it will go ahead and turn your text or turn your handwriting into text as you're writing. Let's see what else we've got. Smart Select. So on Smart Select, you can select any area of the screen with the S Pen and collect a variety of content, including text. So I could just draw, draw a box around this text, and it would let me copy it to the clipboard. Image clip, so I can just tap on any image, and it would allow me to copy it to my clipboard, and screen write, which would actually take a screenshot of the screen and allow me to write on the screenshot afterwards. So you have some options: draw, erase, crop, undo, redo. And I can just draw all over the screen. I, heart, A, G. That's Android, guys. Go ahead and get rid of that. All right, and let's move on to one of my favorite features of the Galaxy Note 4, which is the lollipop style overview or recents. Now, you know, with the Galaxy S5, and I'm not sure if the Note 3 has it. I think the Note 3 still has a menu button. Correct me if I'm wrong. I may be wrong about that. But with the Galaxy S5, they now have the back button, the home button, and instead of having a menu key here, you have the recents key. So you can go ahead and tap that, and you have the lollipop style recents. Instead of having the old ice cream sandwich style recents, which here I'm running lollipop on this. Let me go ahead and turn the brightness up so you can see it. I'm running lollipop on my OnePlus One, and you can see the recents are the same as opposed to what we all know and put up with from ice cream sandwich through Jelly Bean, or through Kit Kat, I should say, which is just the vertical list, basically style recents that just shows you, I think, 4 at a time, depending on the size of your screen, what resolution you have it set at. So this is amazing. I am so glad they incorporated this into Kit Kat, because as it is Samsung, who knows when the Note 4 will be getting lollipop. Although I do have confidence that they'll get it sooner than most. I think I've hit on most of the really standout features of the Galaxy Note 4 that aren't, Android features. But in general, kind of my verdict on the phone, it works well, especially for Samsung. You know, I've given Samsung a lot of crap in my day. I don't care for TouchWiz. It's overly bloated. It takes up a lot of the system resources, and it can slow down just excessively. You don't need to. Most of the time when I would work with Samsung, I'm going to be rooting my phone, putting CyanogenMod on it or some other AOSP ROM, because I need it to be debloated. I need it to run fast. This device, Snapdragon 805 quad-core 2.7 gigahertz processor, 3 gigs of RAM, running a Quad HD display, which is probably best in class. I mean, it is a great looking display. This thing is very snappy, especially running TouchWiz. It does not slow down very often. When it does, there's still those little TouchWiz lags that we've all kind of come used to if you've used a Samsung phone. But in general, everything is pretty responsive. I believe I am running it on Delvic right now. Let's see, I haven't switched it to Art. No. But in general, everything looks great, everything works well, and people have asked me, since this is very similar specs to the Nexus 6, should I get the Nexus 6 or should I go ahead and get the Galaxy Note 4? Here's my verdict in that. If you used Galaxy Note devices and you absolutely need the S Pen, get the Galaxy Note 4. If you're coming from a Nexus, you will be disappointed with the performance, just because it's not as liquid, but nothing is as liquid as a Nexus, fluid as a Nexus, I'm sorry. But if you want that S Pen, if you need those S Pen features, you're not going to be disappointed with the Galaxy Note 4. It's a great device, and the price tag, you can tell by the price tag, they put a lot of money into it. And the build quality, it's kind of a singular build quality device for Samsung. I've never seen anything like this out of Samsung. It's much heavier than most of their devices. The back even doesn't even creak when it's on, which is nice because they've stuck with their removable back thing, and even with the removable back, it doesn't feel like it's going to break. The device itself without the back on is very sturdy. The back is very thin and it just pops on. So it's your stability of your device and the sturdiness of the device isn't depending upon the back being snapped on right or anything like that. So you don't get any bends, any creaks. And I'm not going to try to bend this for you, don't worry. Internet. But in general, I do like the Galaxy Note 4. I found myself reaching for it over the Droid Turbo since I had them both at the same time. I actually would choose the Galaxy Note 4 over the Droid Turbo, if for no other reason than screen size. But I find Samsung's features to actually enrich my life better than Motorola's features. So I'm just not a Motorola guy, I guess. But I do love this. The screen size is great. It's got an extra 0.2 inches on the screen size of my OnePlus One, and the body is remarkably, and I haven't used this with a case, and I do use my OnePlus One with a case, but you can see the bodies are very, very similar. The OnePlus One may even be a bit taller. No, it's not. But you can see the sizes are very similar. So I found myself reaching for this more than the Droid Turbo just because I like having that extra real estate on the screen. The screen is great resolution. It looks wonderful, and you wouldn't be sorry for picking one of these up. So there you have it. I know, as I said, I did not go into much, but I had to get something cranked out about this Galaxy Note 4. It's a hot device. Everybody's looking at it. Everybody's trying to decide, especially Samsung people are trying to decide, should I get the Galaxy Note 4? Should I get the Nexus 6? Personally, I'm going to go with the Nexus 6 for no other reason than the fact that it runs Lollipop natively. It's a Nexus, and if I like the extra screen real estate on this, I'm going to like it even more on the Nexus 6, which is slightly bigger. I don't need the S Pen. But if you do need the S Pen, this is a wonderful device. It will probably get Lollipop fairly soon. We haven't heard any rumors about the updates, especially on the Verizon model. But this is definitely a device worth considering if you want that S Pen, if you want stylus, if you do a lot of art. I do some, but I haven't found it as useful for myself. But if you draw on your phone, man, that stylus would be useful. So if you're interested in one, go to a Verizon store, check it out, see if this might be the device for you. But I appreciate you guys watching my video. Thank you so much for the time. Please like, comment, subscribe down below. We are trying to hit a 3,000 subscriber goal by Christmas. We thought we were going to be able to hit 2,000 by Christmas, but we hit it by Thanksgiving. So if you guys could, please subscribe if you're not already. Help us try to hit that goal. We appreciate it so much. Again, comment if you have any questions at all. Thanks so much, guys.